Guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I hope you're doing well wherever you are today. So there's this video that I'm going to react to. I'll tag the one of the video down there. So this is about what slavery did to black people, and I'm reacting to this video as a black person and looking at everything which is happening in this video. It's so sad, but again, um we have to know what's happening in the black community. We have to know, these things which are happening. So I kind of found it, and I was a little bit devastated by it. And I think that also explains as to why I'm not so vocal about this. But we are really the chosen one. Imagine, after everything that we black people have gone through, we are still here looking at those pictures, looking at those videos, the atrocities that black people went through. We are still standing here and we are still strong. So that's something that which is commendable. However, I want us to look back and reflect on these pictures, these videos that this channel has shared with us. I hope that we learn something and we take care of ourselves, we black people, now after seeing this video.
Have you ever come across images or depictions of historical violence, such as public punishments or acts of cruelty? And if that weren't enough, what about the crowd gathered around to watch someone suffering and be fine with it? Unfortunately, not many criminals take pictures of themselves committing crimes. However, the pictures that we do find give a glimpse into the horrors endured by the slaves and their descendants. Today, I invite you to explore some of these haunting images that provide a window into the dark chapters of human history. Number 9 is the photo of slave children, calling one to contemplate the harsh reality that even the youngest were not spared in this gruesome practice. The idea of enslaving adults is pretty disturbing by itself, but when you think about child slaves, it's just heart-wrenching. That's why this photo is a whole other level of horror and shock. It shows a black child named John sitting on a barrel next to another young boy. They are both barefoot and wearing tattered clothes. The expressions etched on their faces speak volumes about the hardships they've endured. This 150-year-old photo, deemed extremely rare by art historians, hails from the Civil War era. The children captured in this image were either enslaved at the time or recently emancipated. It offers a stark glimpse into the grim reality faced by children in slavery before the Civil War. Shockingly, according to the federal census of 1820, approximately 88% of black individuals under the age of 14 were enslaved, and most of them would spend their entire lives as slaves. Moreover, the number of enslaved children during that year equaled the total number of slaves in 1790. That's a staggering increase. And it gets worse. These kids were snatched from their families and sold to plantation owners, where they had to work in brutal conditions and harsh climates. Some started working in domestic chores as young as 2 or 3 years old, while others were thrust into the field labor between the ages of 8 and 12. According to American historian Stephen Mintz, slave children faced brutal punishments, mostly akin to those meted out to adults. Interestingly, many underage slaves eagerly participated in the Civil War, viewing it as a pathway to freedom. As we reflect on this image today, let us remember the resilience of the black individuals and the fact of how cruel humans can get sometimes. Enslaving children was a horrible practice, but it wasn't the only one in slavery history. Another gruesome practice of the time was shackling slaves. This photo represents a horrifying practice that remained a fundamental tool for control in the African slave trade. The slave shackle. More than just iron restraints, these shackles are a lasting symbol of oppression, violence, and inhumanity that is perpetually tied to the history of colonialism. Taken in 1907, the picture shows a British sailor removing the shackles off an enslaved man who wore them for 3 years. The enslaved man had escaped with 5 other Africans from the slave trading village off the coast of Oman upon learning the Royal Navy was nearby. The picture was taken by able seaman Joseph Chidwick, who was serving aboard the HMS Sphinx that was patrolling the Zanzibar and Mozambique coast. The British Empire had embraced anti-slavery by then and was enforcing abolition in other regions too. HMS Sphinx was a British Royal Navy ship that was involved in the anti-slavery operations, particularly in the Indian Ocean region during the early 20th century. The 6 men had escaped on Dhow, which is a sailing vessel. They were all chained together when the British Navy found them, a cruel reminder of their dehumanizing captivity. On board the British ship, they got their chains knocked off of them. A party of Marines were sent on shore to find the slave traders. The Marines were successful in capturing 2 of them with Arab origin. While these 6 men were fortunate to escape bondage, not all had the same fortune. Many men and women toiled away in lifelong servitude and inhumane treatment, shackled by the cruel realities of the slave trade. Think about it for a moment. You spend your entire life in someone's backyard, working, never getting to experience what freedom is. This photo serves as a stark reminder to the unjust and cruel lengths humans would go for material gains. Yet, it also signifies the pivotal moment in history when the world finally came to its senses and put an end to the heinous practice. Now, more than ever, it's crucial to eradicate the mentality that sowed the seeds for one of the darkest chapters in human history. You must have seen the photographs of slaves toiling away on plantations, but this one is different. Taken in 1860, this photo captures a woman in litter being carried by her slaves through the city streets. While the photos of slaves in plantations represent the hardships they had to bear, the slaves working in urban settings prove to be enigmatic. Some of them may seem properly dressed, but one little detail gives away their less than human status. You may be surprised by the slaves' demeanor and overall appearance in this picture. It was taken in Bahia, Brazil. From the way they are dressed, the men don't look like slaves. But then you notice they are barefoot, which would have been weird if they weren't slaves, given that they would be carrying litter on rough streets. After photography became more common, slaves were photographed in their owners' homes, in the city, and taking care of the white children of their masters. This one shows one standing in style with a hat tipped at a jaunty angle, appearing to be posing for the camera, while the other looks down in deference. This photo was displayed at a Brazilian exhibition called Emancipation, Inclusion and Exclusion. Brazil was the last country in the Americas to abolish slavery, which happened in 1888. This has provided Brazil with the world's largest archive of photographs of slavery, which offer insights into the country's brutal past. This picture underscores the grim truth. Regardless of the setting or region, slaves endured dehumanizing labor and exploitation. Their fate remained unchanged, whether on rural plantations or in bustling urban centers. As the dictum goes, every picture tells a story. But finally, the British Empire came around, and the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833 ended slavery in the empire. The Royal Navy started anti-slavery operations, which mainly targeted Portuguese and Spanish ships. These operations helped rescue many slaves, the accounts of which can be seen in the history archives. This is another horrifying photo that tells us how dark humanity can get. It captures a lesser-known aspect of World War II history, the forced enslavement of American prisoners of war by Japan. The image vividly portrays the grim reality faced by those unfortunate men who were captured during the war and then subjected to slave-like conditions under Japanese captivity. During World War II, Japan implemented a ruthless strategy to address its wartime labor shortages, which included the forced labor of POWs. Approximately 12,000 American POWs were compelled into labor by the Japanese government and private companies, enduring unspeakable hardships far from their homes. Among the companies involved in this exploitation was the Mitsubishi conglomerate, which operated 6 prisoners of war camps in Japan. These camps, linked to Mitsubishi, held over 2,000 prisoners, including more than
Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. I always don't hate on white people, but the people who did this thing, they did it some years back, and this is something which happened some years back. And yep, here we are. Black Americans in the other side are still dealing with systemic racism. That's something which they're still dealing with. I don't know, but you gotta tell me what to think about this, because this is something that we need to talk about. And in as much as it's something which happened a long time ago, maybe it's something which happened the past ago, but it makes us question a lot of things which happened to us with black people. Our brothers are traumatized about these things, and it is cool, it is great if we try so much to respect, value ourselves, value our cultures, and know that we are always the chosen one. Because the reason why I'm saying this, despite all the atrocities that we went through as black people, we're still standing here, we're still strong, we're still facing everything. And also, another thing that I'd like to talk about is about reparations. Black people deserve to be reparations, they deserve the reparation. And looking at these things, how things are happening, we really do deserve the reparation. So I don't know, but at some point, the atrocities which black people went through, it is even beyond money. It is spiritual, and I don't know. I do feel like there is a big punishment that God gave other people, and there are some privileges that we have as black people. So, as I do say, there are some privileges that we have. Black people don't easily get sick. Black people don't easily get diseases. We are so immune to a lot of things. And we thank God for that. We thank God for making us stronger. Maybe that's the price that other races pay for doing us what they did to us. And the trauma, the fear, the self hate that black people has had after everything which has been done to them, I believe that it is time for us to understand everything which is happening across us, everything which is happening around us, to know the truth. And I believe that in everything that you do, just know that we black people, we went through a lot of things, and make me questions a lot of things. If the white man came with the Bible, why would they do this to black people? This reflects a number of things. They came as missionary here in Africa. But look at what they did with the Christianity thing. Look at the harm that um, missionaries or all those people that you want to call did to black people. There is a lot more much that they did to us, a lot more harm that they do to us. I'm not even talking about them. So it's a sad thing, but we gotta suck it up as black people. Sometimes we gotta talk about this because this is something that we need to address. And thank you, brother, for who shared this video so that we may come learn something from it. And I do see as the original people, and we will remain to be original people. So I don't know what. So tell me what you think in the comment section about this issue, because I believe that we need to talk about them. Because if you don't talk about them, we will talk about them. And we need to remind black folks the atrocities that these people did to us. We need to tell them the truth, even the children. Let their children know, let them know the history. Some of these things are not even taught in school, but we gotta let them know. It is sad that we have black people in Africa that don't even understand what slavery did. I'm sure if today I ask my grandmother if she knows something about slavery, she might have an idea, but she don't know. So this means even not even the old people, but even the young people who are here today, if you ask them if they know something about slavery, trust me, they don't know. So it is an issue that Africans, that black people, we need to learn about our history. We need to learn, we need to know the atrocities that those people did to us. We need to know ways of coming up with solutions. And we need to understand that we are privileged at the same time. We have 8 DNA, they have 6 DNA strands. These are advantages that black people have over different races. And I hope that you come to know this, because if you don't know this, you gotta know it. You gotta know it. And something which happened, the slavery was so big, it happened worldwide. People went different places. If you go to Brazil, you'll find black people. If you go to the US, you'll find black people. If you go to Jamaica, you'll find black people. If you go to India, you'll find black people. If you go to Australia, you'll find black people. Everywhere you'll find black people. And this shows you that almost every part of the world, you will find a black person. Even the places you least expect them. You'll find maybe white people, but with an African ancestry, which it's also visible in their DNA, which is also visible through their phenotypic features like the melanin. You can see some blackness, you can see some brownness. This shows you that a person has some African ancestry. So slavery was a big thing. Slavery was a big thing that happened to Africans. But here we are today talking about it. Tell me what you think in the comment section about this issue. Let's meet in the comment section. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.